Absolutely nothing happened for the Miami Dolphins. The NFL trade deadline in 2024 has come and gone, and no deals were made by the Miami Dolphins. They did not add anyone to the roster. They did not trade anyone away from this roster, and it looks like we're going to just pedal forward with the same squad. We'll see if any news or rumors trickles out about the Dolphins not getting a deal done, but we did want to come and update you very quickly that nothing happened at the deadline for Miami. And I'll say this, folks, I'm glad they did not buy at the deadline. Drew Rosenhaus said over the past 48 hours that Miami has been active on the phones, talking with other teams, and they have no intention of calling it on the 2024 season, which kind of hinted at the fact that they might buy and add someone to this roster at the deadline. I am very happy they did not do that, wasting assets to add to this roster, which even if they do go on a run and make the postseason, would not win in the postseason and win in the playoffs, made no sense to me. And I'm glad they did not end up making a move in terms of getting rid of future assets to add to this roster. They stood pat. Now you can make an argument that they should have sold, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But let me know. Make the call for me. Did the Dolphins do the right thing at the deadline by making absolutely no moves? That's what it is. Let me know down in the comment section. I've been very open about this. I think the Miami Dolphins should have sold at the deadline, traded some of these veteran assets that won't be on the roster next year. Potentially Jevon Holland, Calais Campbell will go some of the guys that I had in mind. But overall, I can't complain. The only thing that I could have complained about is if Miami traded like a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick to get someone that's going to be a free agent in the offseason. You don't re-sign him because you don't have the cap space to do so. That would have been DEFCON 1 levels for Miami. Instead, they don't make a move, and it's fine, and they're just going to go forward in the final 9 games of the season with the current roster at hand, where if they want to make the playoffs and turn this year around, they're going to have to go 8-9 in their last 9 to have a 10-7 record, which is probably what will be needed if they want to make the postseason. But you hear me talk a lot about what they should have done in terms of trading away players. Well, here are the 4 players that come to mind in terms of who they could have possibly traded if they wanted to at the deadline. These are the top 4 guys, in my opinion. Jevon Holland, Calais Campbell, Raheem Mostert, and Emmanuel Ogbah. Holland's an intriguing name because he's a young piece in your secondary, but he is an expiring free agent this season. And are you going to franchise tag him and give him $18 to $20 million, whatever the number ends up being in the offseason? I feel like that's unlikely. Are you going to be able to extend him? I don't know if you do that either. So the point is, if you weren't going to extend him, why not trade him? Now we'll see if they ultimately do give him a long-term deal in the offseason, but you could have gotten back a 3rd and a 5th potentially, maybe even a 2nd-round pick to a safety-needed team, but that doesn't go down. There was a lot of interest on Calais Campbell. Nothing happened there. I'm intrigued by that, especially since it's unlikely he'll be back next year because he'll be 39 in next season. He's 38 now, and he will likely only be playing for a team that's competing for a Super Bowl. Will he believe Miami can bounce back next year? I don't know. And we've talked a lot about Raheem Mostert and Emmanuel Ogbah. Those 2 didn't end up being traded. We'll talk more about Mostert on the back half of the show, but it is what it is. I'm not going to dwell on the past now that we've passed the deadline, and I'm not going to be upset that no one was traded away. We're going to have the same team that we've watched so far this year go take the field every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday the rest of the year. So it is what it is. And that's why you got to be subscribed, because we're still going to have daily coverage of the Miami Dolphins news leading week to week, live for every game day. And going forward, we'll be live on every Tuesday as well going into each week. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you know what's going on around this football team by hitting that sub button. All right, I did want to look around the league on what ended up going down today and see what Miami missed out on potentially. This is an intriguing one. I want to talk about this because the Steelers made 2 trades today, and they're going all in for the postseason with a solid 6-2 record. They added Mike Williams for a 5th-round pick. It's also important because it was from the Jets, who traded for Davante Adams. They still have Garrett Wilson, Davante Adams, and Allen Lazard moving forward, but Mike Williams dealt to Pittsburgh. And they also acquired Preston Smith, the edge rusher, / outside linebacker from Green Bay, which is why I wanted to show this one as well, is because this could have been where things were heading for Miami. Emmanuel Ogbah potentially in that same tier, maybe slightly higher than a Preston Smith in terms of a trade. only a 7th-round pick in this year's draft going to Green Bay. If that was the number and the compensation for an Emmanuel Ogbah deal, I am fine holding on to Ogbah for the rest of the year. Is a 7th-round pick worth it? I don't know. You need edge rushers for the rest of the season just to have bodies. So I understand if you were only going to get a 7th-round pick at best for Emmanuel Ogbah, holding on to him, especially since Ogbah has that torn bicep that everyone knows he's dealing with, and it would have been a little bit difficult to swing a solid package back to Miami when everyone knows he's got that injury. More to come here in just a second, but we are sponsored by Game Time, the #1 ticketing app out there. And if you want to go see the Dolphins play in person or go to any other live event, whether it be a concert, comedy show, theater, Game Time is the best way to get your tickets. And they have so many great features like Game Time Picks, filters out the fluff to show you the incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They also have all-in pricing. Toggling that feature shows you the total price of your ticket up front rather than getting blindsided by fees at checkout. And they really do have the last minute deals and the lowest price guaranteed. What do I mean by that? Well, if you find a ticket on a different service in the same exact seat, same exact row, same exact section, same everything, that's cheaper than on Game Time, you will get 110% of the credit. They are the #1 ticketing app out there, and I need you guys to get started with them today. So make sure you download the app and use code CHATSPORTS when creating an account to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, first purchase only. But again, code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off your first purchase. What time is it? It's Game Time. Shout out to them. Link for the promo code is in the chat and description of today's show. All right, some more trades that I want to break down here, and the one that kicked off the deadline this morning is this one, where Cleveland sent the top edge rusher, Zadarius Smith, on the market to Detroit, who needed to add someone who was going to try to fill the shoes of Aiden Hutchinson, who went down for the year, and they get a 5th and 6th round pick. And I think this is why it's another important too, because if you want to trade Calais Campbell, trade Emmanuel Ogbah, it's important to note why a deal didn't get done, and it's maybe because of the compensation that wasn't out there. Like, Zadarius Smith has been productive as heck this year. 5 sacks, he's been sensational, and they're only getting a 5th and 6th round pick for Smith, and plus they had to give up a 7th. So maybe the edge market just wasn't there. Baron Browning went for a 6th round pick. Josh Uche went for a future 6th round pick. Preston Smith went for a 7th. So Calais Campbell and Emmanuel Ogbah, even though they're solid pieces that could have been traded, maybe there wasn't that much interest in good compensation worthy of the Dolphins trading them away if they were only going to get a 6th round pick in 2026 or a 7th round pick in 2026 as well, or something like that. Another trade that I really want to note, because this affects potentially why the Dolphins didn't trade Raheem Mostert, is this trade where the Bengals acquired Khalil Herbert, the running back from Chicago, and they sent a 2025 7th round pick to the Bears. And the reason why I want to bring up this one is because it's the only running back that got traded in the deadline today. Yeah, Cam Akers got dealt a couple weeks ago, but Herbert was the only running back today. And my question is to Cincy, they need a running back with Zach Moss on IR, Chase Brown banged up. Did they not check in with Miami for Raheem Mostert? Because let's be honest, Raheem Mostert is a way better back than basically Khalil Herbert is. So to me, would they have been willing to send a 5th round pick to Miami for Raheem Mostert? Did they check in at all? Like, that's the conversations that I'd love to know that if they took place or not, because if the Bengals really wanted to upgrade that running back room, it would make a lot of sense for them to offer a 5th round pick to Miami to get the veteran Raheem Mostert, who could be their bell cow back going forward. But ultimately, that didn't happen, obviously, and Raheem Mostert stays with Miami to create that running back trio of Jalen Wright, Devon Achane, and him. But let me know, would you have traded Raheem Mostert if someone offered a 5th round pick? Type T for trade, type K for keep. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. And before we head out of here, a couple trades that happened right at the buzzer. Tre'Davious White, the former Buffalo Bill corner, was sent to Baltimore. Los Angeles got a 2026 7th round pick, but also gave a 2027 7th round pick. Very interesting trade there. And then I guess this one happened at the buzzer I'm just seeing as well. 49ers, get Khalil Davis. The Texans get a 2026 7th round pick. No big-time deals. Obviously, we know some of the bigger trades happen prior to the deadline when the Bills got Amari Cooper, the Jets got Devontae Adams. So these are some of the deals that happen a lot earlier in the trade rumor mill process. But we wanted to go over why the Dolphins potentially did not make a move today. And it was pretty evident that they did not get the compensation they would want from some of their guys, or just didn't find it necessary to trade any of them, as they want to see if this team and group can turn it around a little bit here in the final 9 games. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because we are still going to bring content to you every day around this football team. Live on Monday night for Rams Dolphins Monday Night Football. Next time we'll be live. We'll have videos every single day leading up to that game. So make sure you're subscribed in here on Dolphins Today.